Today's video is going to be different. We are going to talk about just the way that I've chosen to iron out the rhythms of my day. And the reason that this is so important to me as part of the KindEdge.com project is that what I wrote on my fridge many years ago as I was working this process through myself to achieve big life change and small achievable steps is success is a finite set of choices that live in your daily habits. So what you want and desire is a very difficult unchoosing of so much else, so many other ways of living, so many other options that others entertain. What you have to do is to dig hard to find what work to be becomes how you are living every day. So as I worked the KindEdge project on me to discover how to implement real lasting change, the change that redefines your default modes, not just inspires you on one day or on one retreat. It is this constant experimentation and then choosing in and pushing out that which doesn't work, choose in what works, push out what doesn't work. So today we're just going to look at the rhythms I found. But with every single thing I prioritize in my day, I had to test it, see if it was something somebody else advised, but that doesn't work for me, doesn't work for my neurotransmitters, doesn't work for when I get my good brain juices. Some people are nighttime people, some people are daytime people. The amount of interaction you have. I went through a far deeper evaluation of my Myers-Briggs profiles and my personality profiles. I got really closely in touch with that so that I would always partner with the pieces that balance me. I find people, environments, and things that balance me, but I know who I need to partner with, but I also know where my natural aplomb is. I know where my natural center is, and that's where I get energized. And so that's how I stay energized day after day, even though chaos is often always hitting me. So we are just going to go through what ends up working for me, and what ends up working for you might be completely different. But if you think of from the how you sleep, what you set up at your bed before you go to bed, what time you sleep, the science of sleep, then the science of how you wake up, and the rest of the day. This is just an example of what I found worked for me. And I dug into every book. Rick Johnson's Your Body Wants You to Be Fat. Peter Attia's recent book, but also every podcast he's ever published. The science of woo-woo, all the Myers-Briggs personality profiles, highly sensitive people. I have scraped through everything there is, and I then reflected on what's working for me, and I refine that every day through infinite self-kaizen, which is don't judge it if it worked last year, but it's different. My diet, I have refined from vegan to carnivore to a little bit of a mix now. Every supplement I take, I have researched in depth. I have documents. I have a 60-page Word doc. I have all of these things. The supplements I take are science-based, but I also know I can only afford so many supplements, and I can only swallow so many supplements. So again, I've got to do what works for me and what drives results. And when you're doing these things, when you're figuring out when is best to wake up, when you're figuring out how to prioritize your day, when you're figuring out how to crunch all the administrivia and doctor's appointments into one area and how you can keep it away from your big rocks, it takes practice. So every choice is like 3-month, 6-month decisions of practice, trial and error, figuring out what works for you. And so if you can look at your day as the microcosm of everything you're going to achieve between now and your death, that is how important the rhythm of your day is, and matching it to you and only you. So we're just going to do a little day in the life, and let's go. Anything that you want to achieve in life is going to be achieved by the way you stack your day. And so if you are prioritizing the right things in the beginning of your day and fitting the right things into your day by crowding out, choosing in to crowd out what doesn't really matter, is going to be the long-term stacking of your goals, which stack to create and build the big thing that you want to achieve. So I'm spending a day in the life, and as you can see, it's very dark right now. I'm walking my dog, and this is about how I stack my day for KindEdge 360 within the KindEdge.com practice. Just capturing a little video of me walking my dog in the morning, which is something that I do as a priority. And right now, because we're in daylight savings and it's early in the spring, it's still really dark. As a practice, I see sunlight and I do horizon bathing several times a day. So I just have to do a little bit more work to be sure to fit the sunshine into my day, because when I walk my dog in the morning, right now it's very, very dark. However, what is most important is that I'm fitting into the day the things that get my body, my mind, and my brain neurotransmitters working the way I want them to work for the rest of the day. I've already consumed 33 ounces or more of water, and that is something I do before I have my coffee. And it's getting dark here. And it's just something that's really important to me. And when the sun comes up, I do some horizon bathing. And that is just basically taking in the horizon with your taking in the horizon with your eyes. And then I do something that builds your sense of alpha, basically your strength and the sense of being alpha within the tribe as you go into your day. You ambulate forward. So psychologically, I've learned that if you ambulate forward, meaning walking forward, and you are looking forward, moving forward, and then you scan to the left and scan to the right and scan to the left. And I do my breathing exercises just in tandem. And so I just take these walks and ambulate forward and right, and it gets me in that forward momentum of the day. I've done a lot of work to make sure that the way I go into my day is calm but powerful. And it's very important to have that sense of power, which is, I know my purpose. I've done all the work with KindEdge.com to know my greater goal and why I'm doing all these tiny little things, why I sit down and diligently do computer work. And when certain software creates issues, why is it that I'm trying to dig through that problem? Well, I have my North Star defined through KindEdge.com, and I have my higher purpose defined, and I'm very clear on why all these little things matter and how they stack into being the bigger things. And so what I do with my morning walk to set me in the right position is I worked on what time works for me. I wake up at 5:30 every day, and I've tried the 4 o'clock thing, and 4 o'clock doesn't work for me because by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm a zombie, and that just doesn't work for me. But 5:30 is perfect. 7 o'clock is way too late for me. I need to kind of have that jump on the day. But I do my morning walk with my dog, and as soon as the sun does come up, I use my eyes to give that sense of ambulating forward, scanning left and right, which gives you the sense of being alpha in the tribe, as I said. And the reason that's important is because you don't want to walk into the rest of your day distracted and on defense. And kind of what happens is you lose your focus and you get pulled by all the people and forces and pressures and intentions around you. It's just like not letting yourself dive right into defense emails in the beginning of the day, and you have to go into your offense of what is your higher purpose, because if I give away my good brain moments to things that are just on defense and just distractions and just shiny things, I'll end the day not knowing what I accomplished and not seeing visibly that which needs to stack to build my higher purpose, my higher dream, my higher goals. So again, the way you start your day is absolutely critical. So I use this walk as a way to get my brain neurotransmitters running in a way that puts me in an alpha mode and lets me know that I am secure, I am strong, I am alpha. And I don't mean dominance, but I just mean that I am owning my purpose. I am here in a proactive way, not on a defensive way in the world. I'm not just surviving this day, I'm owning this day. And I am pile driving my goals into a day that will always be chaotic. You know, the days go that way. So I will pile drive and own my purpose. And when you feel that way in the beginning of the day, you're also very calm and peaceful. You walk in and you're welcoming and loving to all the people around you, even strangers. It's a nice mode to be in because you're very solidly grounded in what your purpose is for the day and how you're using your minutes. And so yeah, for me, I've worked for years on what's the math and the formula that works for me in my day. And this early morning walk of really positioning me within the world is kind of what sets off the flame for the rest of the day. And the rest of the day is what sets off the flame for the next week and the next month and the next year. And that's what makes life matter. Good morning. I hope you're having a great day. Woo. Hey, Donovan, can you say hi? Right here. We'll say hi later when it's light out because a black dog is hard to see in the dark. Bye. This is just a quick check-in from one of my coffee shops that I work at. I've found that going to coffee shops is where I do best for my deep dive work. A lot of my Zoom calls and online meetings I need to do from home, certainly to have privacy and sound control, and just productivity with things like a printer and so on. But when I have an allocated deep dive set of work, I like to do it from a coffee shop, and I've done a lot of experiments. If I need to do ideation, new creative ideas, and kind of open my mind, I will work from a museum cafe and get near people who are creative makers. I think the hands-on makers are very inspirational because they drive beyond perfection and make an idea real in real life, which is never what you imagine, but you learn from trying to do that. And so I'll work from a museum cafe if I need to do that kind of ideation. But if I have a predefined bit of work that just needs a deep dive, I'll do it from one of my deep dive coffee shops, and I experiment with that very religiously because I want to be sure not to go to a coffee shop where people will find me. That's a very different environment. So I go to the ones where I can kind of disappear into the noise and the hum of the coffee shop without people that I know finding me. And so I allocate, if I have to do that deep dive work, I found it works where I do it in this space and not in my home space where I'm not being pulled by the other client work or other Zoom calls or kind of those tactical tasks. So I like to do my deep dives from environments that work for me, and I've just kind of figured out which environments work for me and which environment works for which kind of work through experimentation, which is just one of the core elements of KindEdge.com. I will spend a lot of time here at my standing desk. There are parts of the day where I need to do long stretches of work, but I need to be ready for a Zoom call or an interactive discussion, or I need to have access to my printer. And so my home standing desk is a place where I spend a lot of time. And I prefer a standing desk to sitting. I get very uncomfortable sitting. It's very unhealthy to sit for many hours. And if you are working on something big, you're going to be there for several hours. I'd rather be standing and say, well, I got all this difficult work done, but I also got my standing done, rather than having been sitting. It's very unhealthy to sit. And it's actually an epidemic of unhealthiness through sitting in at least in the United States, and sure it impacts others around the world. So I really prefer to stand. It's better for my brain. Even if I'm in a coffee shop, I will look for the bistro tables or the countertops that are standing level, and I'll push the chair away and I'll work from the standing counter at wherever I am. And I love, like, if there's a coffee shop, a Starbucks, a place in the airport, if you're in the airport, I love to find kind of a spot where you can stand. I just feel like it works. It's more active and you're kind of moving around. If I have to grab something from the printer, you're in motion. It's very forward motion. And so even if you're writing, you're kind of thinking, writing, taking notes, versus that kind of passive sitting. And it never feels good at the end of 3 hours or 4 hours sitting. You don't feel like a real human when you've been sitting that long. So I've even seen people at the front desk of a doctor's office. Some of the people who have spent, probably in the past would have spent 8 hours a day sitting. I've seen that they've begun to take that greeting area at the front of a doctor's office, and the people inside, some of them have chosen to put an elevated stand on their desk so that they can stand while they're working. And I would imagine that that enhances their health and their mindset and their experience of the day a ton. And after standing for 4, 5, 6 hours, I still will not feel exhausted. You still feel like you need to go work out after standing that long, but it's way better than sitting. And actually, there have been times where I've placed a balance board under my desk so that then I can do balancing. And there's also incline wedges that you can buy so that you're at different stances. And there's a ton of, there's pillows that you can stand on so that your feet are doing more dynamic movement, even though that your upper body is staying steady. Your feet can be doing some dynamic movement. You can do that in bare feet. So I highly recommend all of those because it just makes the experience of working on a computer. I feel like working on a computer is a creative place, but you can't neglect your body. When your mind is creative, you can't neglect your body. So that's something that I really I'm so careful about how I invest my minutes. So if I'm giving all my minutes away to something creative and fun and mind taxing, I don't want to ignore my body. Because again, we are all on borrowed minutes until we die. So you might as well take care of the one machine you've got. You can buy a new car, you can buy a new computer. You can't really buy a new body. So it's always something you have to take care of: brain, body, soul, etc. So anyhow, those are the things I think about as far as when I am diving into a certain kind of work that works here at my standing desk. Those are the reasons I've set things up the way I have. When it comes to finding inspiring spaces to work from, I'm lucky to live in a place that is jam-packed with inspiration. Beyond the beautiful beaches and stunning ocean vistas of St. Petersburg, you cannot walk one block in my town without encountering a jaw-dropping museum or other such venue that houses the works of past and present day hands-on makers and creators. Combine that with a cup of hot black espresso, and my mind's in heaven and ready to work. Okay, a good, productive several hours, and follow my rule as every day I've designed what works for me. After productive deep dive work, I will almost never miss working out by noon because the world hijacks you if you don't work out by noon. That's what works for me. For you, you might be the 11 o'clock at night workout person when everybody else is asleep. But I have found that sometime between 5:30 in the morning or noon, I have to work out in order to make sure that I get my big rocks and big buckets filled before the world hijacks me. So right now I'm heading to hot yoga at Body Electric in St. Petersburg, one of my favorite places. I go to a gym. I do ballet in a place that has studios where I can do it on my own. And I do hot yoga. And I also do some yoga has yin and yang classes. So I do some yin, some kind of calming, more relaxing classes in the evening. But during the day when I need to rev up and I want to work hard, I work out fasted. So if you want more information about that, I fast until the afternoon. And then I get a very high protein meal. And then I take all my vitamins, all my supplements and that kind of thing. So I make sure that all these things fit in so that I have the energy to do what I want to do in my life before I die. So I am heading to hot yoga with inspiration. And today it's Petra teaching, and she is a rock star because she's mindful and peaceful while bringing out the most in you as far as what you want to work on in class. So I'll see you soon. So here's a little of the truth of how it looks in a hot yoga class. When I go to the grocery store after being in hot yoga, even if I've showered, I end up looking like I've been in a house fire. So it's a very rewarding class, but you always look like you've been coming out of a house fire. So I find dance to be the perfect blend of body, mind, spirit, and systems. And that is everything that my KindEdge approach is built upon. Doing the small, specific, individual steps that all come together as the artful, bespoke expression of you. Just 5 minutes of meditation does a total defrag on my mind. Busy days are like a snow globe wherein thousands of pieces of glitter dust and millions of little snowflakes end up swirling around your head. One moment of meditation lets all that glitter dust settle so your mind's eye can regain its view of your higher purpose. The little secret is sometimes when I'm walking by the golf course next to my house, I can watch the golfers looking for their lost balls. Can you see this? Oh yeah. Oh, he found it. He's gonna take a shot. See? There you go. Now he's got to go look for his lost balls. Someone's calling for her. It's cute. Here's the little river, little French drain. All the wildlife tends to gather. Okay, Donovan, we're going to turn around here. We're going to do a halvesies today. I always say my dog walks me. Sometimes people get confused. They're like, no, you mistyped that. You walk your dog. Like, no, my dog walks me. My dog teaches me. He's my teacher. For sure. Right, Donovan? Yes, sir. Except you're eating. I'm going to teach you not to eat little acorns or whatever. No acorns and no sticks, buddy. My dog just had his 7th birthday, so in dog years, we're almost the same age. Daily habits are the tiny building blocks that stack up to become your big goals. They magically crowd out the noise that does not align with your bespoke vision of the future. This crowding out makes room for you, your higher purpose, your health, your energy, and all the good stuff that makes life worth living. KindEdge is the project of you, small, doable steps to unlock the alternate ending to your life. I encourage you to join me on this journey. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be fun. And you can subscribe at kindedge.com/subscribe.